thing where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Mayegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Mayegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Mayegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Mayegun the command of the masses. Oh yo yo, Mayegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Mayegun diary police. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Hello there.
Mayegun number one. Mayegun ti dé o.
Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í kó níbẹ̀ o.
Thank you so much for joining me. And as you are joining, please, okay, like the broadcast, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Mayegun is live.
Mayegun diary, diary politico. Mayegun diary, Mayegun number one. Godfatherism, kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun diary, Mayegun.
Innocent Obi, my brother, just seeing your comment there where you said you are watching from the hospital. A speedy recovery for you, brother. Get well soon.
Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé.
Share the broadcast.
Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé.
Buhari sold Nigeria and sold the future of Nigerians. APC, Egbekegbe, destroyed Nigeria, and their vuvuzelas helped them to ruin Nigeria. Absolute nothing is left, and Kolu is about to regret spending this much just to be rigged in as Nigeria president, probably like an undertaker. Me, Mayegun, I will speak to you directly tonight like a layman. Forget all the economic jargons. You will understand this, what they have done to Nigeria. Please share the broadcast.
Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn Raki. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé.
Thank you. Good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun Live. I have this clip I am going to kind of share with you before we get fully into this. There is problem, even though you know, or maybe you don't understand. You will understand tonight, even if you are an Agbadorian, a Batidiot, a Buhari Dane, Buhari Didirin, Buhari Dinotu, Dijatu, Buhari Shuku, Ngozi Hari, Nneka Hari. It doesn't matter where you belong. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys have technically finished Nigeria, but we haven't started. Thanks for joining us tonight, by the way, right? Share the broadcast. Let's get started with this.
impact of European and American and Russian and Chinese interference is a raw wound. It is not something that is in the past. It is something that is happening as we speak. And therefore, when we speak to it, we are speaking to it to warn ourselves of the reality. When we speak about the Danidas and the NGOs, these are bodies whose raison d'etre is to ensure that we remain in a perpetual state of begging. That is what we are doing to warn ourselves. And we are not for 1 minute saying that we will shut ourselves out from the rest of the world. What we are saying is that we must define how we engage with the whole world. And we are saying that as individual countries, we are weak, and the rest of the world wants to operate and to deal with us in our weak state. The United States of America are dealing with Rwanda on second-hand clothing. Rwanda cannot resist them. Burundi cannot. Kenya cannot. Uganda cannot. But if we are East Africa with a population of 300 million, we can. If we are SADC, we can. If we are ECOWAS, we can. So this is what we are saying. And we are saying further that going forward, we must also recognize our internal weaknesses. And what is our weaknesses? Chinua Achebe said it very well. The problem of Africa is simply and squarely one of political leadership. The rank of many political leaders in Africa are thieves. Let's call them by their name. They are thieves. They are individuals who are not interested in the interest of this country. And as long as we continue electing such individuals into positions of power across Africa, they are going to be manipulated. What then is the responsibility of the citizenry? The responsibility of the citizenry is to make demands. The chairman here, I hope he has received the several letters that I have written to him. I've written several letters to his organization, talking about the role of the African Union in peacemaking. I wrote to the chairman only last week about the situation in Sudan, saying we must solve our own problems. And I want to see a crusading African Union.
Thank you very much. And you are welcome to the Temple of Truth tonight. The headline or the rider for this video is the latest release. It's sort of an expose that nobody ever thought existed out of all of the financial rascality that took place under Buhari, APC, Egbekegbe. Apart from the fact that they led Nigeria into the rabbit hole of indebtedness, debts that would be repaid back in tens of years to come. Many of them are as long as 100 years repayment. In 8 years, the Central Bank of Nigeria gone rogue, where Emefiole, the head of the monetary body, supposed Central Bank of Nigeria governor, gone rogue, and gone rogue to the point that by the time they were done, they successfully put Nigeria on the map. In fact, at the top of the map as the poorest people on earth, as well as one of the most indebted, with nothing to show for it. 8 years of borrowing from just anyone they could borrow from. 8 years of indebtedness. At the end of it, over 97% of all the projects they said they embarked upon were uncompleted. The loss on Nigeria, the debt on Nigerians, including generations unborn. One of the obstacles that has guaranteed that generations of Nigerians are not only going to be born into poverty, they are going to grow and live and die in poverty. throughout their lifetime. You see all this, right? You will think when things get this bad, people should be honest with themselves at this point and say, you know what, let's be honest now. If we don't fix this, we are doomed. So technically, Nigeria is bankrupt. Buhari took Nigeria from $7.8 billion foreign debt to over $80 billion today. Not just that, they depleted every penny they met, and they also destroyed all the golden goose laying the golden egg. I'm talking about the source of the revenues. They got them so destroyed that Nigeria became so insolvent to the point that it couldn't meet up just any quota, whether to pay up their debt, service the debt, or even meet up the natural resources supply to the world, which is that of natural gas. Something that gives them the forex, right? The backbone. They say, oh yeah, Nigeria has this or that. Buhari met Nigeria foreign reserve at $35 or so billion. At a point, in fairness to them, they reported that they have increased the foreign reserve of Nigeria to 40 billion. But that was a momentary propaganda because it didn't last. Nothing to really show how they made that money. No explanation. But yeah, they cooked the figure and published that. But what they didn't tell Nigerians was that under Buhari, they moved or signed a bill or something like that then gave the full autonomy to Central Bank of Nigeria, that is to manage the Nigerian foreign reserve. It is like saying, oh, Mayegun, I've got this $5 million, right? And it is in so bank account. I want you to help me manage how money flows in and flows out of that account and keep me updated. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. I can do that. So what then happened? The same Buhari with Emefiole, they went straight to America to speak to Goldman Sachs. Watimagbo, Abi, you go down the hear before. Goldman Sachs, very big name. JP Morgan, Watimagbo, Abi, very well, right? Emefiole and his central bank team, with the approval of Buhari, they decided to use the foreign reserve of Nigeria as collateral to take cash. They took cash, dollars, from Goldman Sachs, as well as JP Morgan and some other lenders there. They took cash without the National Assembly approval for such. What was that money for? No explanation. Fitch, that one is a rating agency, financial rating agency. Now, let me explain some certain things to you so that you understand the implication of all of this very well. In fact, to you watching me, Okada rider, how does this affect you? How does this make your life hell? All this money that you have no idea of, how did they change or affect your life right now? Even though you are not in any way a foreign dealer or whatever I will explain it to you. You see these criminals, when they came, I told you before, I said, APC, Egbekegbe, they came to do three things, all right? And they came to steal, which is to loot. They came to destroy, which is to divide. Nigeria is already destroyed and divided, Abi. Then they came to kill, which is that anyone at all that stands on their way, you will be destroyed. Not just physically, like killing you, like, dead. No. They will kill you economically. And by so doing, a lot of you slept, you woke up, and you found out that you are battling with poverty. That is 5, 6, 10 years ago, that wasn't the case. You had prospects, you had dreams, you were dreaming of where you were going to be 10 years ago. Where are you now? You see, that is called economic jihad. It is economic war. It touches everybody. And that's why some people who are so daft in their own politics, as they believe, right? Their religion, tribe, and all these things matter to them more than the activities and actions of these criminals and how much they impact on them. Nobody is spared. Whether you are a Christian or Muslim, you know that, Abi. Nobody is spared, whether you are a northerner or a southerner. Before now, they said it's class war. Okay? The rich and the poor. But guess what? Right now, especially in the last 2 months, even the rich themselves see also cry. Right now, it is happening. Right? Those of you under Buhari, when they were taking all this money, they were devaluing your naira. As they were devaluing the naira, even the dollars they were taking from America, they were not giving the dollars to businessmen, industries. You know, Nigeria is an economy that is called import-dependent economy, which means Nigeria, no matter how blessed Nigeria is, natural resources and the rest of that, all those bragging, all right? Nigeria still depends. Over 80% of what they use in Nigeria are imported, especially their petrol. The biggest oil producer in Africa once upon a time doesn't have a refinery to actually refine his own crude oil to serve his own local consumption. What does that tell you? That's the chunk. Nigeria exports its crude oil, buy back the finished products, and then put the levy on the rest of you. So when they remove subsidy, how has life been since then? So let's go back to the borrowing and the devaluation. Initially, they said they were borrowing to improve your infrastructure, stop corruption, in order to improve revenue generation, and all of those shon, they were telling you those big grammar. To the layman right now, what did they do? Without any approval from anywhere, all right, as Nigeria economy was bleeding, they have already created what they call the round tripping. Now, the round tripping is that instead of the Central Bank of Nigeria, okay, remember, Central Bank of Nigeria is the one in charge managing the foreign reserve of Nigeria. Nigeria earn is forex, foreign exchange, mostly from the crude oil. So which means Central Bank, NNPC, two of them, they are supposed to be Siamese twins that cannot betray each other, or else Nigeria will be in trouble. Why? NNPC will monitor trade of the crude oil, ensure the money is paid to the what? To the central bank account. Then central bank in Nigeria will now gauge the economy, how much of the dollar should be left in Nigeria, how much of the dollar should be left in their World Bank foreign reserve. Now, you know, foreign reserve is like your credit, you know what they say about, what is this thing called again? A credit score. You know, credit score is for poor people. When you see billionaires, multimillionaires, nobody talks about credit score with them. Now, me and you, the middle class or the poor, because the capitalists who will give you the money, say, okay, want to borrow you money. They want to see how financially healthy you are as an individual. Can you pay back this money? What do you have in exchange if you don't pay this money? So then, if they realize that your chance of paying back is 50-50, so they will increase the premium. The premium is that the risk is that, okay, instead of them giving you loan at, let's say 5%, if you have a very clean and healthy credit, they know that you are worth more than the money you are asking. They will say, okay, 5%. But when they know that there are some other complicated blah, blah, blah behind, that they may not get their money easily, they will increase the premium. So which means they will say, okay, 20%, 25%, 30% interest, 50% interest, APR, Abi, what do they call them? APR, Abi. It is for poor people. They have the same thing for countries. The most indebted country in the world is the United States of America. We are talking about trillions upon trillions. But because everybody is trading in their currency, dollars, that gives them a leverage, which means whatever you do, wherever you are doing, they will get their cut. You're going to use their dollar. So with that, they are the ones who is now rating everybody, mostly rating everybody. So there is a body called Fitch. You see that Fitch is like a credit rating agency for countries. So that when your country go to World Bank, all the data of your country, the history of the loans you have taken before, blah, 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 all those things, they will be available, readily available at the World Bank. Sure you get now. So this feature as agency, they have put Nigeria in negative because Nigeria has entered a situation that Nigeria is still existing right now. That you can still stand up and say you are Nigerian and you are in Nigeria right now is a miracle. Do you understand? This Buhari's APC, what they did to Nigeria, that Nigeria is still existing right now. That every one of you are not actually on the streets right here, picketing everywhere, chasing these criminals wherever they are, to the bottom of the heart of this world. Baba, is a miracle. It's surprising to some of those lenders. So what did they do? After NNPC gave room to oil theft that Nigeria has never witnessed before, ever in Nigeria history. Nigeria was losing 700,000 barrels of crude oil every day. When we put all of that together, Baba, it is a million, billion, trillion, grillions or something. But when we put the figures together in money type, Nigeria lost, ladies and gentlemen, over 300 billion US dollars to oil thieves. Guess those who are buying the crude oil stolen from Nigeria? The same West. The same people. Right? Anyway, the same people who are borrowing us money that realizes that Nigeria cannot even pay back the loan. What Nigeria is doing is Nigeria is now servicing the loan. You know what servicing means? It simply means that, okay, you are supposed to pay back 100 naira on your loan. So I will be deducting it from your loan. But the total revenue that you have, if we should take that, you are going to need about, put it this way, you're going to need like 200 naira, which means the money you are making is not even enough to pay back or to service to pay your loan. So what happened? You can then make an arrangement that says you will be paying the monthly interest, supposed monthly interest, and even that monthly interest on that loan is taking about 98% of your entire revenue in your country. Why? Because the major source of your revenue has been let loose to oil thieves. So the forex that you need to shore up your foreign reserve, to improve your credit rating, so that when you go borrowing, you will not go sorrowing that much. The percentage of the interest will not be that high. So as Nigerian foreign reserve, they reduce, so is the loan interest increasing, including the condition that you will need to go and devalue your money. Remember that already, without the creditors telling them to devalue naira, they themselves have already created a corrupt pipe called round tripping, where middlemen, central bank was supposed to give money to the banks. You, whether you want to go abroad for your BTA, and you need BTA, basic travel allowance, whether you want to go abroad for schooling and you need dollars or whatever, all you have to do normally is to walk into your bank, and the bank will tell you, this is the exchange rate. And then you pay the naira equivalent, and they put the money wherever you want it to be, give you your receipt, that's it. But that wasn't it. The middlemen, who are mostly APC, Egbekegbe recharge card seller from Kasina, Daura to everywhere, that suddenly overnight turned to multi-billionaires. That's how they became billionaires. So they were those who are now receiving the dollars from Central Bank of Nigeria. They are now those who are now choosing how much they will sell the dollars to the banks or bureau de change. So just like pandemic, Nigeria naira jumped from 160 naira to $1 official rate to over 500 naira to $1 official rate, and similarly from 199 naira to $1 to over 700 naira to $1. All this happened under these guys, but we didn't know that behind the scene, the negative financial report on Nigeria also came with some other conditions that led to that. They have used the foreign reserve of Nigeria as collateral to collect $13.8 billion from American creditors. The question now is, what did they do with the 13.8 billion that they collected? Because they use your foreign reserve as a collateral. Another thing, from 2021, the foreign reserve of Nigeria has been witnessing the monthly decline of over $400 million. You should also kind of look into that, Abby. Yes. As by the month of August 2022, the monthly withdrawal or deduction from the foreign reserve of Nigeria was put at $440 million every month. And as at July, which is last month, 2023, the balance in the foreign reserve of Nigeria is now put at 34 billion US dollars. Or even at the 34 billion, 40.7% or nearly 41% of that money does not belong to Nigeria. It can be a liquidify assets that these American banks, the money is in their country anyway, World Bank, Abi. All they have to do is to take all their debts and Nigeria will be empty. Giant of Africa with, how much will be left? 20 billion US dollars in foreign reserve, where you have countries with 400, 500, 1 trillion US dollars as their foreign reserve. This is the reason why you are going to buy dollar for 1,500 naira. Let me explain that to you. You will pay through your noses with the ruins that is going to hit the naira in the coming days. You see, normally the depletion that lasted for 8 solid years, I'm talking about depletion in revenue. May I explain that one to you? Nigeria has two means, or should I say Nigerian government, they have two means of generating revenue. The highest one is from the oil sale, crude oil sale. Nigeria doesn't produce, or should I say, Nigeria doesn't operate the extraction of our own crude oil. Can you even believe that? American companies, European companies, they are there in Nigeria with their own machines and everything. They are those who are extracting the oil, taking their cut, paying royalty to Nigeria. By design, Nigeria is actually losing 50% of what Nigeria should be making from our own crude oil to production alone, which is those who are involved, they take their cut. All this Shell, Chevron, all these people, you are kind of hearing their names. I don't know if they are still there. They brought their equipment. They were not employed by Nigerians or Nigerian government. Kind of put that in mind though. So when they pay this royalty, Nigeria still make a lot of money. But that money will need to come after the sale of the crude oil. So when this money is coming, it goes straight to the Central Bank of Nigeria. And that was when they usually spend the money based on the budgeting number, kind of. I'll explain that too. For example, if a barrel of crude oil is $80 per barrel, because of the expected sale by the Central Bank of Nigeria, then they can say, you know what, we can make so amount of money, so let's write our budget. They will now write the budget on what they are going to spend on power, what they are going to spend on road, what they are going to spend on this or that, which is your national budget. Now, when they now have to quote the budget. They have to put something called the benchmark, oil benchmark. So if a barrel is $80 per barrel, they can say, oh, we expect to sell the barrel at $50 per barrel. So what that means is that if they put the budget on $50 per barrel, right, and it ended up being sold for $80 per barrel, that is $30 different on each barrel. So if you now sold millions of barrels in a month, that's going to be like times $30. Now, if your budget says $50, that means you have enough money to fund your budget, and you still have excess that you can save. Sure, you get now. But despite all that, what happened to Nigeria was that avenue of making so much money got taken over by Buhari and his men, who became the oil thieves. They were legally taking oil. You've seen some of the oil tanks, I mean, the vessels, the ship, you've seen them. That's not something that you and I can just carry bucket and jerry can to go and steal crude oil. It takes a lot of teamwork, including the involvement of the security and all of that, Abi. So they opened the door for these thieves for years, and Nigeria lost billions of dollars, trillions of money. Do you want me to tell you what that means in Naira? What Nigeria lost under Buhari to oil thieves? I'll tell you. Plus or minus, if you use today's exchange rate, it means that Nigeria lost $300 billion. Oh, Nigeria lost over 200 trillion naira. 200 trillion naira to oil thieves. Think about that. Think about that monument. I told you that Nigeria is still existing right now. That all of you are still waking up and say, I'm going to work. You are waking up, you are saying, we have wedding this weekend. You are going to, I need to meet with my business contacts. And all of that is a miracle. Seriously, a miracle. But you will get there. Slow but steady. Win the race. You will get there. Everybody will feel it. And you'll come back to Mayegun's diaries sermons that will always be there, no matter how much you try to avoid the truth. So Nigeria lost money. That's the first revenue earner for Nigeria. Lost money. Nigeria became beggar, begging people to borrow them money at ridiculous exchange rates and, at ridiculous, interest rates and conditions like devalue your naira, go and devalue it, go and devalue your naira. So Nigeria was losing so much money because the money was going into the private pocket of Buhari and his cronies. Of course. The second avenue that government of Nigeria make money is through, through taxation. And you know Nigeria has they have the population. But the problem is this, more than 60 to 70% of the population, they have no jobs or they are mostly underemployed. What does having no job and having a job but still being underemployed, what does that mean? That simply means that if you don't have job, you know you don't have job. Like very, very, very bad situation. No job, no revenue, no income. But you have job. But that your job where they are paying you 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira, 30,000 naira, and you are existing in that Nigeria, you are pretty much like poorer than you probably will think of, or you admitted that you are poorer than you should be, even though you have work. You go work every day, 30 days a week. But look at the way you are living. Do you think you are not hardworking enough? So you have the population where nearly 70% of your people are either unemployed or underemployed. A disaster. That means you are losing so much money. You are losing so much money or tax money from able-bodied population, active population that should be working, people that should be busy. They are not. Docile. Devil's workshop. I mean, what did they call that thing again? They said the poor man said, no, I forgot that. Something like, empty hand or something like that is devil's workshop or something like that. Anyway, you get what I mean? 70%. You are losing a lot of money there. And as the population keeps getting poorer and poorer, the bracket of people who are paying taxes continue to to close and close, you are losing so much money. So Nigeria has lost so much because of the incompetence and corruption of these criminals. Idle hands are devil's workshop. God bless you. Idle hands. Today, the most lucrative Bambi-ala job in Nigeria today is to be a politician, seller, lapdog, ass licker, crumb eater, crumb chasers, orator, whatever you can be. That is the most promising job for some of the young people in Nigeria today. Technically, they can't do anything. How? What do you want them to do? So they waste the life of generation. Millions of young people, 10 years of their lives has been used to play Oludo, bear. So Nigeria is not making money. So what would they do? They started borrowing. They were borrowing like drunk sailors. Like everywhere they could see, they were borrowing, stealing here and there. They wanted to steal the money from dead people too. When they realized that over 4 trillion naira is currently lying fallow, dormant, in dormant account in Nigeria, dead people money, they still want to take it. They say we can take it and pay it back. They never pay anything back. They can't pay anything back. They've taken everywhere that makes money for Nigeria legally. They have already taken charge of all those. Nigeria is not making anything anymore. The criminals are roaming about, but using the Nigeria Foreign Reserve as a collateral to take $13.8 billion. Baba, that is the height of it. That is the height of it. But Emefiole is in jail. Buhari is in Daura. They are visiting him. They are calling him a leader. Kalu is lost. He's probably have no idea. Now, the dollar to a naira is nearly 1,000 naira to a dollar. Everybody is asking, what happened to the announcement made by Kalu's central bank acting governor? Show wine wani. The acting governor of Central Bank today is part of the Emefiole team that took all those economic decisions under Buhari, defended them. They removed Emefiole as the scapegoat, throw him under the bus. They appointed a member of a criminal gang as replacement. Now they announced, they said, we are going to unify. We're going to unify naira and dollar. We're going to unify exchange rates. How would you unify? What are you going to do? You need a chunk of money. That dollar, you need a chunk of it to put that in those banks in Nigeria if you want to crash. Because apart from that, it will take you years to genuinely put naira beside dollar and challenge it and begin to challenge it. That is the moment when Nigeria can actually produce what they eat and bold enough to export them. Now let's talk about the devaluation. The devaluation at the time, you were doing your campaign. Tifnumbu had no explanation to you. He had nothing. Nigeria was in a hole. You were feeling it. They were telling you that is those who are thieves. They were feeling it. That you are only sacrificing from 2015 until a lot of you lost your businesses. Lost your jobs, you lost your relationship. Some of you lost your marriages, and others, they lost their lives. Endure. Eforiti, gbogbo ori ti pa. Ori pa ton o tun ti nje wonu. Sorry if you don't understand Yoruba. They say endure. It go better. Use your head to. Yoruba is so unique, by the way, right? I don't see how I'm going to kind of interpret this to you. Kind of explain that what I just said right now in English, that it will actually make the proper sense to you. I'll try. You see, when they say that people should endure in Yoruba, it simply means that, kofioriti, use your head to continue to push it. It go better. So, the people that they told to push it, they are beginning to notice that they are already going bald. Everything, there's no gear anymore. They are using the air to push and push 8 years. Before they know it, they have started noticing some holes inside their skull. It be like, say, the skin are already peeling off. The bones are already showing. And the whole thing is already, the wear and tear of endure, wear and tear. Before you know it, Baba, hold on inside the skull already. That's what that means. Oriti pa, oti wan dalu. 8 years, you know it, you feel it. There's some same character came back and told you that they now found a magic wand to fix it. And you believe them. I was shouting like this. This is what I was doing for all those time. Telling them, how long do you have to lie to yourselves? Right? Now, let me explain some certain things to you about this devaluation. Okay? When the local businesses were kind of suffering, they said they were shutting the border in order for them to grow food. So that when they grow food, local farmers, right, will make more money and food prices will crash and all of that. That was the lie they told them. What they didn't tell the agriculturists in Nigeria, it was a good idea. Like, Nigeria has the best climate to grow anything. Nigeria can farm all year round. Nigeria is the place where people can farm all year round and keep producing and producing and producing. But you know something? These guys are not interested in any of that. So their investment in agriculture in Nigeria is just for the face value of it. Who are the agriculturists? Mostly those who actually produces the food we eat, the livestock, like farmers, poultry farmers, all of you, poultry farmers. You suffered. You saw a lorry. You saw a jibu. You enter this, my brother's area, in TV, in Benue, suffer, so lorry, so Ibadan. What the economic policies of APC did to you. Now, under them, they told you they have shut the border. But they didn't tell you that the singular import license for anybody to bring anything into Nigeria was given to Dangote. Only him. Until he got challenged. And they gave the second one to another one. Koshe Bua, Abina Bau, Abi, something like that. Another. They didn't tell you that. But for those of you who they deceived that Africa Development Bank loan, 1.3 trillion naira, was available with free fertilizers to grow food in Nigeria. That was good. Good news. It was meant to be good. But what they didn't tell you was that you will only have it good if you have the peace of mind to actually toil the ground or toil the land and grow those food. They didn't tell you they were sending terrorists to you. I mean, that used to be the problem of northern Nigeria, right? Until it became the problem of the entire Nigeria. They didn't tell you that. And under them, they did all they could to suppress your voices. And you know the worst case scenario, right? It wasn't left. I mean, the people who were just like farming on the land were not those who were suffering this alone, right? The terrorist attack and the rest and the scam, right? You see those ones who are also into non-land farming, blah, 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 like livestock, like those who are into fishery. I have a friend. His prospect 10 years ago was that if everything goes well, in 10 years' time, well, anyway, in 10 years' time, 10 years back, I used to think that this, my friend, should be a billionaire or very close to being a billionaire in 10 years' time. I'll tell you, his business strategy was so perfect. This guy was a self-made guy, okay, who put his resources together and then he invested in this fishery business. He was one of those first-generation fish farmers. And back then, when he sits and when he sat and it's like calculating his expenses, he will calculate the feeding. the feed, how to feed the fish and all that, what size, and how much they sell each size, how do they recoup their money and all of that, and for what, how many space of time, okay, 3 months, 4 months, and all that. And same goes for those of you who are into poultry business as well, right? Livestock. So feeding your livestock and all of this seems to be the most almost the most expensive part of your business. So the smart ones, you know what they did? They started buying milling machines. They started mixing the food themselves. Not that they were only able to feed their own stock, they were also able to break the price enough that they were able to sell to others. Then Buhari happened to them. Okay? And the problem about businesses, it's not like people don't do everything to keep their businesses running. But the the consumers, when the power of consumers has been cut so low that they can no longer afford a lot of things they usually kind of need. So as they are unable to afford, businesses also will be what? They will also be losing patronage, losing revenue, profit, and the rest of them. Things will be dragging. No be so? But you see, that things are slow can be a little bit managed by different categories of traders and all that, not with those who would have to feed their livestock, quickly have to dispose them and sell them off, make their profit and restock, and do the same thing again and again. So when the wahala started, now the raw material started with it. I mean, now the raw materials be the problem first. You know, this type of farmers, like the one I'm describing right now, corn, agbado, all these kind of grains, they are the most vital part of their meal for their stock. You know that, Abi? And once the price of their raw materials begin to go up, so would they have to pass down the cost on the final product, which is their fish or their chicken. So gradually, my friend found himself struggling. Why? They have so much fish, but they've got no buyers. They've got to feed them until some of them started discovering the idea of grilling them. These are the ideas that are later coming with the struggle that came with Tifnumbu's and the APC, Ebekegbe's policies. Businesses died. And today, they are still dying. And they are dying at the fastest pace that no one has probably seen before. And it is going to get worse. So ordinarily, you will think, if Buhari that they said is the best thing that happened to Nigeria after Agege bread, if he was what they told you he was, if he is what they told you he was, Abi, Baba, it would have been an ideal time for Nigeria to go to that foreign reserve and just take $10 billion cash, inject it into Nigeria economy. Yeah. All of you who are into all these businesses, make them allow you have access to those funds to keep your businesses afloat. That is what they do where I live when things get this bad. But in their own way, they mostly always see it coming, and they don't lie to themselves when the shit hit the fan. Not like in Nigeria. Emefiele used 41% of Nigerian foreign reserve. Buhari ordered that $13.8 billion was taken from lenders in America. And nobody is right now asking, where is the money? So what did they do? What really triggered the lenders was that, these people be weird. I mean, did you hear that they have printed over 23 trillion naira? And they have also, Central Bank printed 23 trillion naira. And they loaned it to Buhari's government. These ones are mad people. It's better we let their country know that we will recoup our own money when we are ready, because the collateral is right there in our backyard. All we need to do is just to write the World Bank and say, we are taking 13.8 billion. Or maybe that is just the loan. No, we don't even know the interest. So maybe at the end of the day, when they will finish the whole thing, Nigeria will be paying about 20 billion to them. So why? Like, why are these guys still in their homes? I mean, Tifnumbu on his own, if the court no remove him, in fact, if the court remove Tifnumbu this time, now favor that they do him. Look at me very well. Would you me da? Eh? In another 6 months, even Tifnumbu will sit down whenever his dementia, in a way, come under control. He will sit down and he will ask everybody around him, Kini mo nshembi, what am I doing here? Go and write it down. The mess they have put Nigeria in, technically, Nigeria is already finished. Technically, Nigeria is bankrupt. And unfortunately, the criminals who perpetrated this, the finance minister under Buhari, Pastor Ruga, the head of economic team for Buhari, what do you call that one? Buhari himself, Emefiole, that is in their detention, and everybody involved in this haste, they should be in cuffs, right now, just right now, like as much as yesterday. Go and arrest them now. Just sit down there, they shout, they make noise, they do all this. Go and arrest them, idiot. Emi ló ń pè ní idiot. Emi ló ń sọ pé may I go arrest them. Want to arrest the lives yín, want to arrest the future yín, want to arrest àwọn ọmọ yín. And the way I can make it easier for you is that, just go and sit down, relax. Kẹ́ dúró de kú. You have no idea. What they have done right now is that Nigeria is so vulnerable right now. And Nigeria is going to war. Yeah, Nigeria is going to war. Even though they are saying that it is not Nigeria war. Now, ECOWAS. But you and I know that if there's anything that Kolu is currently doing to try to take attention out of his own illegitimacy in Nigeria, plus whatever the West has on him, or whatever they have on him, Baba, even this distraction, no, they distract anything. The Northerners that kept quiet under Buhari, that saw the escalation of insecurity in their region, they publicly once told us that protest is haram. Do you remember that? That protesting is haram, forbidden. Under Buhari, the looting and stealing is not haram, by the way. Corruption wasn't haram. Terrorism wasn't haram. If you probe me to this jihadist fanatics, well, call you that want to distract everybody and take your mind away from this calamity that has befallen Nigeria. Baba, the distraction is not distracting. If you ask me, in fact, it is raising more concern, even though the Nigerian military just told us they are loyal to Tifnumbu, that will not be any coup in Nigeria. Why are you telling us? They said some people are calling that there should be coup in Nigeria. Okay. So you are telling us that Nigeria military is very strong and blah, 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 blah. So to reassure Kolu, Tifnumbu jaga bandits, Aṣíwájú àwọn olè, Aṣíwájú àwọn agbéwiri, Aṣíwájú àwọn agbèrò, or your pampers, or your diapers, we shall shout, and the rest of you like that, right? The distraction is not distracting, by the way. So I should remind you of that, because protest is no longer haram. one kind of, I mean, this time around, I want to go to Niger. We'll go to Niger. I wish I could say more on what is coming. They can tell you all lies. Oh, okay. I think I still have one thing to say on that central bank stuff. Nigeria is broke. These guys depleted Nigeria, and they should cough out this money. They should cough out that money. They built themselves estates. They were buying properties in Dubai and all over the world with your money, borrowed money, printed money, and all of this secretly, openly, right? They should pay for that. They are targeting me and you right now. According to them, they are lying to Nigerians right now, telling them that the reason why the naira and dollar, after their own announcement of harmonization, unification, and other nonsense, or shon, they put in it, right? They are now saying that those of you who are trading in cryptocurrencies, Binance and the rest of that, they said you are the reasons why the dollar and naira will continue to go higher. They are telling their mumus in Nigeria like that, the economic mumus. They are saying that me and you sending money to Nigeria, not sending the money through the central bank so that they can take their percentage like they normally do, share the money and leave the people poorer and the country in debt. They said you and I who live abroad, diasporans that remit over 34 billion US dollars to Nigeria every year. Show some respect to you, we really be you. That thing always kind of annoys me, by the way. You know, slave trade is over. Slave trade is over. But what about the modern slave trade? They destroyed Nigeria. Chased us out of Nigeria for those who made it. I know everybody then chased out of Nigeria actually ended up being able to pay back to Nigeria in the name of remittances. Paying off, subsidizing the lives of our people. The Nigerian system continue to milk and destroy. No opportunities. Here you get. So we save Nigeria, where your criminal leaders are looting Nigeria. Those criminals in Nigeria are taking the money out of Nigeria to go and buy properties abroad in the name of their family members. They spent billions of your money financing private and personal medical care for themselves and their families abroad with your money. Me, Mayegun, that you are calling enemy of Nigeria, Nyashiri. I am one of those who are also remitting money back into that country, at least to save Nigeria from turning into Venezuela. You should have started attacking yourselves enough today that Venezuela will be like a small London to some of you, like you have in Somalia, thanks to Nigerians who are living abroad, the diasporans. So the Central Bank of Nigeria is kind of worried that the reason why the dollar and the naira will continue to, the reason why naira will continue to weaken and weaken is because that 34 billion US dollars that we remit to Nigeria every year should have come through them. So if it came through them, you know that cash, billion, even the crude oil in Nigeria did not give them that money because you know now, they looted it. They already stolen that anyway. So no amount of money they make from crude oil will ever amount to the money that Nigerians remit back into Nigeria from South Africa, from America, from Asia, from even Saudi Arabia, from Qatar, from all over the world. All of you are there. You see, when that money enter Nigeria, they are called diaspora remittances. When you look be and you weary ass lickers, crumbiters, all risers, political jobbers, who are singing the praises of your criminal leaders here and there, those who have contributed nothing to Nigeria. You jump on social media and say, what's your business with Nigeria? What is your business with Nigeria? Show some respect, right? You should show some respect. We know be your papa mate in that regard. Show some respect. Because if not for us, Nigeria would have been, well, I don't know. So that's why some people are saying that stop sending money to Nigeria. Stop sending. Okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Your family members are also in that country affected by the same ruinous policies of these criminals that doesn't discriminate. Their policies doesn't spare anybody. And I've said that many times. Wherever you are in Nigeria today, if you want to be honest with yourself, right, you will agree. No one is spared from this marginalization, discrimination, and this. Nobody, no area is spared. And everybody just said, so yeah, show some respect. So they are targeting us right now. They say it's because of us. That's why the dollar and naira. What happened to your crude oil? What happened? How much money have you saved? They said they saved a trillion naira from your subsidy remover. Where is the money? Why is us? Why is it us? Are we those who have made it difficult for your industries to function than to be folding up? The manufacturing industry in Nigeria that need rejuvenation, the real rejuvenation that could create jobs, boost the economy. How much has your government invested in that in the last 10 years? That you can tell me. But no, point all the fingers. Everybody is at fault. Now you don't want Nigeria to be better. Now you people, they talk about Nigeria badly. Nigeria is gone. These guys have done things that if all of you actually understand what they have done, wherever you see them, you will do what is called citizen arrest. You go hold them, tie them hand and leg, and take them to the nearest police station. If they no prosecute them, you go pick up everybody where they try to prevent that. That is what you should be in the mode of. But you get there. Don't worry, you get there. They will push you there. And, videos like this will continue to remind you what they made you believe and what the truth is. And how did any of this affect you? That's what I do, by the way. I do that very well. I won't drink tea. So I'm going to go to Niger, where they want to distract you. But the distraction is not distracting. But the war is already at the 11th hour. I don't think anything will prevent it. Let's go to Niger Republic and the reactions. By the way, I was saying something about protest. It was Aram, but it's no longer Aram. The northern Nigeria are complete. Well, Kano and Kasina, they are not in support of military invasion of Niger Republic, but they are not protesting against Ifnumbu. Guess who they are protesting against? They are protesting against Christians. They are protesting against Israel.